Welcome. So in this video, we're going to go through question 14, which says the angle sum of a triangle can be used to prove other theorems, one of which relates to the angle in a semicircle. The theorem says that the angle ACB in a semicircle is always 90 degrees, where AB is a diameter. So what it's saying here is that the angle ACB, so this one right here is always at 90 degrees, or ACB, it's always 90 degrees. Oh, that's a pretty bad one. That is always going to be 90 degrees, as long as AB is the diameter of the circle. Okay, so let's see if we can show this. So part A says, use your knowledge of isosceles triangles to find the value of A, B, and C in this circle. All right, so the very important word there is isosceles triangle. So when we look at this, because this is the radius and this is the radius, we know that they have to be the same. So we have an isosceles triangle here, and one of the properties of an isosceles triangle is we know that these angles are equal. So that means A is going to be equal to 30 degrees. And then from here, it's very easy to figure out what this one's going to be. It's simply going to be, 30 plus 30 is 60. So that means this is going to be 120, because 120 plus 60 is 180. And then from here, we know that this is 180 degrees. So that means B is equal to 60 degrees. And if you wanted to figure that out quickly, another way you could have done it is, because this is 30, this plus this is going to be equal to B. 30 plus 30 is 60, and that will always work when you're in this kind of scenario. Okay, so once we know that B is 60 degrees, the next thing that we can do, let me write 30 here. The next thing that we can do is figure out what C is. And again, this isn't too hard. What we would do is we would say we have 180 degrees. You would minus that 60 degrees. And from that, you'd get 120. And then you would divide that by 2, and you would get 60 degrees. So that means this right here is 60 degrees, and this right here is 60 degrees. And that makes sense, because 60 plus 60 plus 60 is 180. Then it says, what do you notice about the sum of the values of A and C? Well, A is 30 degrees, C is 60 degrees. 30 plus 60 is equal to 90. So what we would say is C is 60 degrees. So A and C are complementary. And we know that because this is 30, this is 60, 30 plus 60 is 90. All right, now let's move on to the next one, and we're just going to do the same thing. So repeats A and B. All right, so again, we know that this and this are the same because they're both radiuses, which means this is an isosceles triangle, which means A is going to be equal to 60. Once we've done that, we can figure out what B is going to be. 60 plus 60 is 120, so that immediately tells me that this B is 120. Remember, if you wanted to go through the long way of proving this, you'd go 60 plus 60 is 120, which means this has to be 60 to make 180, and then 180 minus 60 is 120. Do you see how it's kind of pointless figuring out what this is? It just kind of takes longer. You can just go this plus this is that. Then once you've done that, we can figure out what C is going to be. To do this, we would say, well, we know that this right here is 120. So it would go 180 minus 120 is 60 degrees. Divide that by 2 is 30 degrees. C is going to be 30. And then once again, 60 plus 30 is equal to 90. So A, that's an ugly A. A and C are complementary. They add up to 90 degrees. Let's go on to the next one. Again, the same thing, repeat A and B. We know that A is going to be 16 degrees, so A is going to be 16. 16 plus 16 is 32, which means that this right here is going to be 180 minus 32, which is 148. And then we would go B is going to be equal to, well, again, we could go 180 minus 148, and that's 32. Or we could have just gone 16 plus 16 is B, which is 32. Then we get to C. Now, if this right here, these are equal, so we're going to go 180 minus my B value, which is 32, and that's going to leave me with 148. Then I'm going to divide that by 2, which will leave me with 74. So that means C is 74 degrees. This is 74 degrees. And you can double check that 74 plus 74 plus 32 will give you 180. So this is 74 degrees. And then sure enough, A plus C is going to be equal to 90 because 16 plus 74 is equal to 90 degrees. So that means A and C are complementary. Perfect. What do you notice about the sum of the values of A and C for all the circle aboves? Angles A and C are always complementary. Complementary. All right, next one. Prove this result generally by finding A, B, C in terms of X. Okay, this is where people might have trouble because it becomes a little bit more abstract here. So we need everything in terms of X. What does that mean? It means we don't want to say A, we want to say what A is equal to in terms of X. Well, as you can see here, I've got an isosceles triangle, and that tells me that this angle and this angle is the same. So that means A is going to be equal to X. So we have figured out what A is. So that's done. Let's now see if we can figure out what B is. Well, I can figure out what B is by simply going this plus this. That will give me what B is. Well, it's going to be A plus X. And remember, I don't want to have it in terms of A, I just want it in terms of X. Well, I know that A is equal to X. So I could just write this, instead of an A, I could just put X, which means B is equal to, I might even do it here, 2X. Perfect, we've done that one. Now I need to figure out what C is going to be equal to. Well, how can we figure out what C is going to be equal to? Well, if I know that B here is equal to 2X, I could go 180 minus 2X divided by 2 is going to give me what C is equal to. And that would be equal to 90 minus X, because 180 divided by 2 is 90, negative 2X divided by 2 is negative X. So as you can see, what I have created is I now have A in terms of X, I have B in terms of X, and I have C in terms of X. So I have everything in terms of X. And now I can therefore say, what is the value of A and C? Well, this now becomes a lot easier because I'm just going to go, this is I. The value of A and C, well, A is equal to X. C is equal to 90 minus X. So A plus C is going to be X plus 90 minus X. And then from here, you would say, well, look, X minus X, they just go away, which means what I'm left with is just 90. Whoops, I forgot, where's my pen? There we go. I'm just left with 90. So A plus C is equal to 90. And this is proof. This is like rock solid proof of what we've done. So as you go kind of later on through high school and even into university, what you like to do is create proofs where you're not relying upon numbers, but you're using algebra to get there. So all of these here, you couldn't say that this is a proof of what's happening, but this here is a proof of what's happening. So we have proved it. So that word prove there has a very special meaning in maths. Okay, and that's it. Hopefully you found this helpful and just have a bit of an understanding of what we did. And I'll see you in the next video.